When it comes to the sports card market, right now I am a short-term bear, but I am a long-term bull. Let's talk through this. Hello to all my sports card collectors, investors, all of my collectibles friends. How are we doing, guys? We've got Game 5 of the NBA Finals tonight. It's a huge, monstrous game. We'll see if the Celtics can do something. The Warriors kind of have some momentum. We will have to see if Steph Curry starts cooking, the chef. What do you guys think? If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button down below, along with the likes and the notification bell if you do like what you hear. We're coming with pretty much daily sports card and collectibles content. So if you've got just family, friends that just don't really care about this stuff and are tired of hearing you ramble on about whatever card, you've come to the right place, friends. You have come to the right place. We're here for you. Also connect with me on IG at SportsCardDad and also on the Twitter, the SportsCardDad. As I was watching the crypto market melt down yesterday, I have some money in crypto, not an extraordinary amount. So am I affected? Yes. Am I affected a lot to where it really pains me? Not really. And also, it just made me think too, the stuff that I'm involved in the crypto space, much like the sports card space, much like equities, real estate, I am a long-term play on this stuff. I'm a long-term buyer of these assets, and I think that's really the big thing is for everybody is trying to figure out what's the stuff that you believe in. And it might be different from me and it might be different from the next guy, the next gal, whatever. But the main point is having more of a long-term view. I've heard so much over the last couple of years. There's so much of the, oh man, you really got hosed on this or that or whatever. But without really realizing that a lot of the stuff that I've gotten involved in, I have more of a longer term view on it. So it doesn't pain me if something goes down over the short run because I didn't buy it to sell it in 3 weeks or 2 months or 6 months or whatever. I'll throw up on the screen an example of a card I just got over the last few days, and it is a signed Stranger Things card, believe it or not, signed by the Duffer Brothers, the creators of Stranger Things. And you might be wondering, like, what? Why? Why would you do this? Well, there's a few different reasons. And I don't really buy non-sports very much. I don't buy non-sports stuff very much at all. But first off, in 2016, the summer is when Stranger Things came out. And I remember just getting hooked on that show. And as I look back, that was really what kickstarted that, among a couple of other things, kind of kickstarted the nostalgia-fueled 80s stuff for me, where it just really hit me. It came back to where, I was really kind of thinking about childhood things and really kind of focused in on that era and just the appreciation of that 80s, 90s era. It started for me, a lot of it was with that particular show. So there's a nostalgic feeling from that summer of 2016 where it brought me back to some really good times in my childhood. And the show in general, just a fantastic show if you haven't seen it. It's not for everybody, I get it. And this past season actually was a little bit more on the scary side, but this show in particular was important to me. Also, my older kids watch it, etc. So it's something we can kind of all bond over. And this card is signed by the creators. It is one of 10 cards that were printed in Series 2. Series 1 also has a dual auto of them that's numbered out of 10, but not a lot of autos by the Duffer Brothers, and especially not dual autos where you've got both of them that signed it. It is a sticker auto, so it is kind of like, sticker autos, but it's still not like they've signed a bunch of stuff. Now, can they sign a bunch more in the future? Sure. But when I went on to Beckett.com, that kind of gives you a general idea of what are the pack pulled manufacturer autos that are out there, and the Duffer Brothers don't have very much at all. I believe it was like 11 or 15 different types of auto cards, so not very much at all. And so this was just a cool card. I'll see if maybe I can get it graded. I'm not sure if I'm going to send it off to PSA or SGC or whatever, but I just want to stash it away. I want to see what happens with it. Maybe these guys are, the next Steven Spielberg type guys, and over time, they have a huge career. But I also think about it too, of the Stranger Things, I think will cycle back around around in 20, 25 years. The kids in the show will all be grown up and they'll do some sort of a remake possibly. I think that would be really cool. And I think it would be awesome to have one of these kind of original pieces that came out from Topps. And so again, this is an example of something where I bought it looking forward into the future. And when I talk about collectibles on this channel, I've talked about this a bunch of times, is with my collectible stuff, ideally, if I could get gains of anywhere from 4 to 7% annually over time, then fantastic. And a lot of people are probably like, whoa, that's so lame, that's so low. But the problem is we've gotten so used to these parabolic type gains where it's 10x, 50x, 100x, whatever in these different spaces. Even in equities, stuff has been way up, and it just doesn't make sense. Real estate has skyrocketed, but this isn't normal. These aren't normal cycles. People are like, oh, it cycles. Yeah, but this has been such a insane cycle upward. And so time horizon is really important here when we're looking at this stuff. I anticipate, we talk about it on the channel, and it's not just me, it's a lot of people anticipate some down economic times. Look, it's just happening. It's happening around us. It's not like I'm just pulling this out or I'm just, deciding to be negative. It's just happening. Look at the news, look at what's going on, whether it be supply chain, inflation, money printing, blah, blah, blah. Take your pick at all the stuff. It's just not great. It's not great. So, to pretend otherwise just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And now it shouldn't be a big shock that prices are moving downward for certain cards, certain collectibles, certain stocks, certain crypto, whatever it is. What does it mean for you? What does it mean for me? For me, I know that there are some buying opportunities. There's buying opportunities out there. And for each of us, we kind of have to figure out what do we feel is the best place to go right now. And that's kind of the tricky thing, is because it's like, which assets are the ones to put money into, because a lot of it is just kind of sinking down. So there's opportunity cost to consider across all different asset classes. I saw a tweet that was like, man, why would I buy cards right now when I look at the S&P 500 and there's certain companies that are down that I really like? I want to get into those. Okay, fine. And there might be some people that are like, why would I do that? Why would I get into equities when, cards have dropped? I want to get into cards or graded comics, or I want to get into crypto or whatever it is. Oh, maybe I'll buy real estate, whatever that is. And that's going to be kind of the tricky thing, I think, over the next few years, is really kind of figuring out where kind of to put funds, because what's going to happen, and of course we can't see the future, but in 10, 20 years, we're going to look back and be like, oh man, I put money here. I should have put it here. It's like hindsight's always 20/20, or man, I wish I had stacked this instead of that. We're all going to have that. And of course, there will be some people that are like, haha, I put it all in this and it worked out fine. Some people are going to get lucky like that. And that's what a lot of this is. We're just kind of picking things that we think, have long-term potential and just riding that wave and just kind of hoping for the best. When markets dip, regardless of what the market is, it's not for the faint of heart. And you see that. Look at what's happening. You're seeing huge sell-offs all over the place, huge sell-offs. And yes, some people need to sell off because of job loss, or some people need to sell off because they need money for medical bills or whatever. But a lot of people are just selling off out of fear because they're worried like, this is going to go to zero. And then they're selling it off, and that's just moving the prices down. It's the falling knife thing, that everybody talks about. But what does that mean? We saw this back in 2009 where the Dow was 5,500, or what have we talked about? 6,000? It was all the way down to 6,000 roughly, approximately. And what happened? The big whales moved in and bought everything up, and then they did very, very well over time. There are buying opportunities that will come. This is when really kind of the wealth is built. And even if you're, the little guy, this is an opportunity to eventually to get in on a lower price point where we just haven't seen lower prices in a while. And I think the big question though is going to be, is it now, or do we wait, or do we wait, or do we wait? That's going to be the thing, is just, are you trying to time the bottom? For me, I'm not going to necessarily try to time the bottom. I'm just going to try to pick my spots all the way down, and this might be the low, or it might not, it might get a lot lower. We have no idea, so instead of trying to time the bottom, I'm just going to dollar cost average down on a lot of different stuff and see what happens, see what happens with it. There's going to be some great opportunities for PC items. When you think about, like, I'm a big Drew Brees PC guy, for the New Orleans Saints. I'm a huge New Orleans Saints fan. So I'm pretty sure, Drew Brees is retired. He's out of the game. Tom Brady's in the limelight and breaking all the records, and Brees broke the records. He got passed up by Brady. People are going to forget about this guy. People are going to just move on to the next. Football season starts up. And Drew Brees is no longer an analyst, so I'm sure that's not really helping. It's not going to help his cards. He's not in the limelight. But who knows? Maybe it will. But I think there's going to be opportunities for me to add to my Drew Brees PC. And I think that goes for a lot of different players. But I can't really stress enough the unrealistic expectations that we've all come accustomed to over the last few years. Really, I think over the last dozen years. We've gotten used to this environment where stuff just kind of, moves up. Ever since 2008, 2009, they've been really kind of correcting. The government has really overcorrected to try to save the economy. And instead of just letting it kind of do its thing a little bit. And now we've, unfortunately, everything's a little inflated or a lot inflated, depending on how you look at it. And now we've got to have that correction the other way. It's that swing back and forth. So, but I think that's really the kind of the lesson, if there is a lesson, is when we're in these kind of weird economic environments, it's important to change the mindset. Instead of, oh man, everything's going down, all my assets are losing value, panic, to, okay, this could be actually a decent buying opportunity for certain things. Maybe I double down on some stuff. Maybe I go into some other stuff. This should be a good buying opportunity. And a lot of people are going to say, hey, we're not there yet. Wait, but nobody really knows. Nobody knows what's going to happen. The same thing happened when the pandemic started in March 2020, when you saw where Dow Jones sinks and then all of a sudden it rebounds. So we don't really know what's going to happen. But that's what I'm going to do. Just kind of dollar cost average down and just ride the waves. Just ride the waves. Don't get emotional. I'm not getting super emotional. I'm just going to keep on keeping on. Guys, let me know your thoughts. Are you a short-term bear but a long-term bull? Or are you just a bull in general? Or are you just bearish on all of it? And it's like, sell it all off. All of it. I'm out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.